Presiding Officer, the First Minister said that the auction of major offshore wind projects was one of the most significant days that Scotland has seen in a very, very long time. I welcome inward investment, but it shouldn't come at a cost of the Scottish economy, our just transition or our values. So let's be clear about what has happened. This SNP government have sold on the cheap the right to profit from Scotland's energy transition to multinational companies with questionable human rights records. One of the new owners of Scotland's seabed were fined $54 million for bribing Nigerian officials and $88 million for bribing Indonesian officials. Another one was found to have contributed to human rights abuses at one of its construction sites, of destroying villages in Myanmar, of relying on forced labour and using slavery to build pipelines. Surely these aren't people the Scottish Government should be doing business with.
First Minister.
Crown Estate Scotland made the decisions on the companies, the consortiums that would be awarded the status to develop projects around our coast. They have appropriate processes in place to do due diligence. But this is one of the most exciting things for Scotland in a long, long time, which probably is why Scottish Labour has been so negative about it. Not only does this give us the potential to meet our own energy needs from renewable sources, it positions us with the ability to be a major exporter of renewable energy, including green hydrogen, and it gives enormous potential for our supply chain. The estimate is for every gigawatt of power that will be generated from these projects, there will be £1 billion of investment in our supply chain, and for the first time, of course, companies have had to set out in statements what they will do to support our supply chain. So this is good news. There are complicated consenting and planning processes that lie ahead, but this offers massive potential to Scotland, and it's potential we intend to seize with both hands.
Anas Sarwar.
I agree with the opportunity, but values matter. Just last week, the SNP were right to accuse the Tory government of tolerating human rights abuses as a price worth paying to secure deals for the UK. This week, the SNP has done the same. So what Nicola Sturgeon, in effect, is saying, it's bad when the Tories do it, but it's OK when the SNP do it. There's another concerning part of this deal. One of the new owners of Scotland's seabed is the Swedish-owned state-owned energy company. That state-owned Swedish energy company can now use their part of the Scottish seabed to keep energy bills down for people in Sweden. The First Minister once promised a Scottish state-owned energy company. In fact, this SNP government spent almost £500,000 of taxpayers' money on the project before scrapping the plans. Why is it that people of Sweden now own a bigger stake in Scottish energy supply and distribution than the Scottish people? The SNP, not stronger for Scotland, but stronger for Sweden.
First Minister.
Yes, Sweden is also an independent country with full control over energy, which of course this government and this parliament doesn't have. But that's a matter that Anas Sarwar might want to reflect on a little bit more. And of course, just today, the Cabinet Secretary for Net Zero is talking about the opportunities around consultation for our plans for an energy public agency to steer these kinds of developments in the future. This is a thoroughly positive opportunity for Scotland, and no wonder then that Scottish Labour just wants to girn about it and be negative. That's what's characterised Scottish Labour for a long time, and it's why they're sitting over there these days, not there and certainly not here. Let me just repeat the opportunity to meet our own energy needs from renewable sources and to keep energy costs down, the opportunity to export renewable energy to other countries, the opportunity to grow a supply chain and create thousands, possibly tens of thousands of jobs, and of course the opportunity to raise revenues for the Scottish Government, for public services here in Scotland. From the lease options alone, £700 million, and then when these projects are operational, there will be rent fees in addition to that. So this is a thoroughly positive opportunity, and perhaps Anas Sarwar, just for once, could find it within himself to be positive about the potential of Scotland.
Anas Sarwar.
I've said I welcome investment. I've said I welcome and recognise the opportunity. But this is such a desperate, poor reply. The First Minister often likes to accuse opposition parties of demonstrating a brass neck. That was a brass neck from the First Minister in that reply. Accused the Tories of bad values on human rights, accept human rights values as being part of the price worth paying for Scottish opportunities here. Because this is about the Scottish supply chain, Scottish companies and Scottish jobs. Because the sad reality is that this is an SNP government that doesn't understand economic development. Scottish bridges built with Chinese steel, Scottish wind farms with turbines built in Indonesia, ferries not built with Scottish shipyards but built in Poland and Turkey, and now Scotland's seabed owned by foreign multinationals with woeful human rights records. We've heard the list of promises from the First Minister before. A state-owned energy company promised,
please.
Never delivered. Scotland's becoming a renewables like Saudi Arabia, promised but never delivered. 130,000 green jobs promised but never delivered. After 15 years, isn't it the case that this is an SNP government that has sold out Scottish jobs, sold off Scottish assets and now sold out Scottish values?
Thank you, Mr Sarwar. First Minister.
I'm just sitting here reflecting, almost unbelievably actually, that Anas Sarwar has just accused me of behaving like a Tory the day after his party threw open the doors to a Tory MP. There is now so little difference between Labour and the Tories that their MPs are just interchangeable. So brass neck. I would say to Mr Sarwar, I think he'll be polishing his for the rest of the day. Look, Anas Sarwar and his many predecessors as Scottish Labour leader, I have to say I've forgotten how many predecessors as Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar has had, but they've been trotting out these negative, talk-down Scotland tropes for years. And all that has happened is that they've gone further and further and further down in the ratings in Scottish politics. They've lost more and more votes, and my party's share of the vote has increased. So there is real... I came into the chamber expecting political desperation from Douglas Ross today. I think I've seen even more from Anas Sarwar, which probably says all we need to know. I'll get on with encouraging the potential for Scottish renewable energy, for Scottish jobs, for revenue for the Scottish Government. And I'll be delighted at the next time of asking to put that record before the Scottish people. I'm not so sure Anas Sarwar will be quite so keen.